Welcome to episode 392 of the 2 Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Boston Celtics and determining whether or not they will make the playoffs in this 2021 NBA season. But before getting into that topic, question for the video for you Celtics fans and NBA fans in general. Who leads in all-time three-pointers made in Boston Celtics history? If you know the answer, comment below. If you do not, I will reveal the answer at the end. But looking at the Celtics right now, they are 6th in the East, 16-7, not the greatest start. However, if the playoffs started today, they would still be there. There was some speculation whether or not they would really make it, not because it's cutting close to the playoffs, but just because they aren't performing to their absolute potential and peak. So far this year, they're below 500. They were recently just sitting outside of the top 8 seeds of the playoffs, and there was some speculation whether or not this team was even going to make it. I think they'll be just fine. A lot of season left, and I think the Celtics have one of the best, probably not top tier rosters in the NBA, of course. I don't think they're NBA Finals competitors, but I do think they're definitely one of the more well-rounded and tier 2 teams in the NBA for sure, in my opinion. Looking at the roster, of course, you got the obvious ones in Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Very lethal duo, and those guys are extremely young. No matter what, how the Celtics end up finishing this year, they have an amazing young duo in Tatum and Brown. Tatum being only 22, Brown only being 24. They're not even in their prime or peaks yet. They're just now emerging, and this team has been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times out of the last 4 years, so they got plenty of playoff history, they got plenty of talent. They just really need to get over the hump. I don't think they'll get through it this year just because you got the Sixers doing well, obviously, and then, of course, the Brooklyn Nets are a very big problem in the East and for any team that they might face in the NBA Finals, assuming they make it. But not to say the Celtics don't have a chance. Once you're in the playoffs, if you're there, you clearly have a chance, or else you wouldn't be there. So, like I said, looking at their team, they got Tatum and Brown, that lethal duo, and then at point guard, they've been struggling a little bit lately due to injuries. Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker, 2 very well-rounded and very talented guys, however, both have been lacking due to injuries. Marcus Smart in his calf, Kemba Walker in his knee. I think eventually they'll click and get back. They might not reach their full potential just because coming back from an injury is very tough. But I do think they'll get a little bit better and, not be this below 500 team and get things better once All-Star break is passed. They got some time to rest. Their health is at their best, and I think they'll definitely make the playoffs. I do think they'll even move up above the 6th seed in the East, but who knows right now. Like I said, it is early to say. But the Celtics' biggest problem is really their size, being big on the other side of the floor. In their center and power forward position, Tristan Thompson, a well-known center around the league, primarily due to playing with LeBron James and being with the Kardashians and winning an NBA Finals with LeBron James and the Cavaliers. However, I'm not sure his talent is really there. He's not the greatest center. He's not the biggest center. However, he's a solid role player to have on that team. He's better than some NBA centers in the league, of course, but then he's not even close to some of the top-tier centers in the league, of course, as well, such as Embiid and Nikola Jokic. So, really, he fits the Celtics and he does his job just fine, but he's really not that guy that's really going to take them and boost them to the NBA Finals. And then Daniel Tice, he's not performing well. Not that they expected him to be this absolute all-star, but just their overall front court is not the greatest between Daniel Tice and Tristan Thompson. And of course, you got Taco Fall off the bench, but clearly he's not that great if he's not starting. I think he has good potential, and I think he brings in a lot of, ticket sales for the Boston Celtics if they're fans. Of course, that's not really helping them out right now, but I do think he is a potential big that could pan out in the long run. But as of right now, he's doing a solid role of just coming off the bench and being a good role player. And really, the biggest thing I like about the Celtics is Brad Stevens, their head coach. I'm very fond of him. I think he's one of the top NBA coaches in the league for sure. Of course, you got your Steve Kerr, your Greg Popovich, your Nick Nurse. There's great, talented coaches, but I do think Brad Stevens is right up there with them. Like I said, he helped them get to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, 3 of the last 4 years. Of course, he hasn't gotten over the hump and gotten to the NBA Finals, but some of those years he faced LeBron James. Last year, the bubble was weird. It was just weird for all NBA teams. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He definitely needs to get over that hump if he wants to be regarded officially as one of the best coaches in the league. He definitely needs to get over that hump, but as of right now, he's doing pretty solid, and I do think he's one of the better coaches in the NBA. Looking at the East right now, like I said, you got the Sixers, you got the Nets, you got the Bucks, you got the Raptors, you got the Knicks, you got the Celtics, and the Heat all being in the top 7 seeds. I think pretty much all those teams are going to stay the same. Sixers and Nets are just fine. Raptors are finally starting to get a little bit back together. Not going to be anywhere where we thought with Kawhi year, but I do think they'll make the playoffs. Fred VanVleet's doing really well. Of course, you got Lowry. Siakam's not that great he's not as great as he was with Kawhi Leonard that 1 year, but he's still doing his job. Knicks, you have to take very seriously right now. They're tied for 4th in the East right now with the Toronto Raptors, and of course you got Giannis and the Bucks. I think those teams are all pretty much locks. I was surprised by the Knicks doing this well, but at this current pace, they're a lock for the playoffs. And of course, I think the Miami Heat, they had some struggles in the beginning, just like the Celtics, but they got Jimmy Butler back. They found the perfect role for Tyler Hero. And I think they will make the playoffs as well. And I think the 8th seed will be the biggest mix-up between the Bulls, the Pacers, the Hornets, the Hawks. Maybe if the Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal starts making a run. You got to remember, since this year is kind of COVID-centric, there's only 72 NBA games in the season. There will be the top 10 seeds will make the NBA playoffs. Seeds 7 through 10 will have a play-in to make the playoffs. So I guess 9 and 10 aren't guaranteed in, but they'll still have a chance. So really, Celtics only have to make the top 10 seeds to make it into the playoffs or get a chance to make it to the playoffs. And I think they won't even have to worry about a play-in game. I do think their talented roster will get there. They'll get healthy, and Brad Stevens will help them get to one of the top teams in the East. Don't think they'll win the East, but I do think this is a team that is fine for the playoffs. Really, I think the biggest question is who's going to come out as the 8th, 9th, and 10th seed. Like I said, between the Pacers, Bulls, Hornets, Hawks, Wizards, anything's really possible when you have those 2 extra seeds added on to the top 8 that make it. Like I said, Celtics are fine. I think after the All-Star break, once they get some injuries fixed, Kemba Walker, hopefully his knee is fine. He still, like I said, might not reach his max potential, but getting Marcus Smart back, he might be able to take a bit of a role to reduce Kemba Walker's playing time, to just be very efficient, give him rest, and get him in when he has full energy and is ready to go, not constantly playing 40 minutes on a bad knee. We'll see, though. A lot of potential. I do think this is a team that will win a playoff series or 2 and could possibly make the Eastern Conference Finals, but it all depends on the matchup. I think they could really beat anyone in the East except for the Nets, in my opinion. I think the Sixers, Raptors, Bucks, Heat, there, of course, will be tough teams to beat, of course, but I do think the Celtics teams, like I said, well-coached, well-rounded, can get a playoff series win or 2 and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again, but I don't have them coming out of the East and making the NBA Finals. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the Celtics are absolutely miss and bust and not make the playoffs? I don't think so, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. For the question of the video, the all-time leader in three-pointers for the Boston Celtics in their franchise history is Paul Pierce. Ray Allen had a good run at him, but he was not there long enough. Paul Pierce owns that record. Thanks for watching, guys. 2 in the morning.